So the first thing that you want to do to get the most out of Phorcides is to go to phorcides.cloud/register. And so when you go to phorcides.cloud/register, what you find is this registration screen. And you're going to fill this in. If this is the first time that you're beginning to register for the cloud services, you can indicate whether you are a surgeon, an optometrist, a technician, or an administrator. We want to include your name, first and last name, your email. And for clinics, most clinics across the United States have already been entered. In case you find that yours is not there, you can always type it in. But again, most clinics across the entire United States have already been entered, so you could simply scroll down and you could choose exactly which clinic that you're part of. And usually the address is here too. If not, of course, you can fill this in. Then simply hit submit. Once you've registered, now we're ready for the full presentation for Phorcides 5.0, which takes advantage of the cloud EMR system that backs up Phorcides. So we begin as we always have in the past. We're going to double click on the Phorcides icon. And as I double click this, we get our introductory page. This is Phorcides 5.0. And immediately it's asking me to log in. So I'm registered with the cloud. It has remembered my user email. It's remembered my password. I'm going to log in. Now, if you decide that you want to work without the cloud, you can always skip this step. But again, the cloud offers a lot of powerful features, so I would encourage you to use it. So I'm going to log in. It's immediately logged me in. The second thing that I'll do is before I plan my cases for the day, I'm just going to go to the cloud dashboard, the cloud database here. And it has remembered me. It's logged me in. This is my user page. I can look up patients and events. I can add a new patient. But really, this is not where you want to add a new patient. What we really want you to do is to use Phorcides as you always have. So we have the Contura module from Phorcides. We also have the new Wave for an Optimized calculator. And if we click on the Contura module, just as before, we're going to select an image to open. I'm going to choose a patient name. I'm going to open up that patient image. And as you become accustomed to, it's pulled in the patient ID number, date of birth, their name, all sorts of clinical data. I've confirmed that this data is correct. I'm going to analyze this patient. We're confirming that the patient data is correct. We're agreeing with the computer analysis of the topography, and we have our treatment plan, our sphere, cylinder, and axis. I'm going to save this, and as I save this, it has immediately saved that planned treatment where you're used to seeing it, in the Phorcides results folder. And within the Phorcides results folder, there's two places that where this treatment has been saved. The first place is by date. And so you can always look up, today is November the 11th, 2019. And sure enough, within this folder are all the different cases that I planned that particular day. You also have the ability to look up every patient you've ever treated. And all of this information resides on your desktop within the folder that says Phorcides Results. But because I have signed up for Phorcides cloud-based EMR, when I hit save, this patient's treatment information automatically went up to the cloud. So let's check this out. We're going to open up the cloud, open the dashboard. This is my user page. I'm going to go to patient and events, and I'm going to use events timeline. We're going to find the patient that we just planned. And here it is. Here's the Phorcides Contura planning that we just did. Notice though that this patient has automatically had a preoperative exam generated. We didn't have to do any typing. We're going to come back to that in a minute. But let's just look at our planning here from Phorcides once again for Contura. And we had targeted plano sphere. This is the patient's manifest refraction, their cylinder. the contour recommended cylinder and axis, the topographic anterior corneal cylinder and posterior corneal cylinder from the Scheimpflug device, either the Pentacam or Galilei G4 has already been entered here. The maximum height of the tallest talus versus the central tissue ablation. This information was pulled from the Alcon Contura planning laptop. And we have Phorcides' recommendation. What did it recommend after we had planned all the treatments? But let's say you're looking at this patient 6 months down the line and you say, you know, I really wonder, what did this patient's topographic treatment profile look like from the Alcon Contura planning laptop? You can simply click on this Alcon planner image here, and the image appears down in the lower corner. Now, I'm running Windows on a Mac machine, so this is going to be a little bit cumbersome because my images are displayed on my Macintosh side. But immediately, I can access the patient's Alcon Contura planning image. I can see it as exactly as it existed on the Alcon planning machine without having to drive to the clinic, fire up Alcon's proprietary WaveNet network, log into it. I can do this from anywhere, which is really convenient. Now, let's jump back. And if you said, you know, I've just looked at the Alcon topographic treatment image, what did I choose for the taluses? Did I make a modification? Did I not? A couple months down the line, it can be hard to remember. So you can click on the talus image, and we are going to look up the talus image. And here it is. Here was the talus selection that had been made by the computer. So once again, right at your fingertips, all the data that you need about this patient's refractive exam can be accessed from anywhere. And this is one of the powerful features that's built in here. So you can save this event. Now, you can go and navigate one of two ways. I could click this X and I could go back to our timeline event, or since I'm here, I can also just click on this preoperative event. Now, I did not create this. Phorcides created this for me. Here's the patient's manifest refraction. This was pulled from the manifest refraction in the Phorcides Contura planning screen. But it saves you and your technicians a step. You don't have to type in the preoperative name, date of birth. This has all been saved. The patient's manifest refraction has been automatically entered for you. For those of you interested for research purposes, it's calculated the spherical equivalent for this patient. It will remember the vertex distance that your clinic uses, so you don't have to type this in every single time. And simply right here is a drag and drop screen where you can choose the acuity, the uncorrected distance visual acuity, and the corrected distance acuity that the patient had in their pre-op exam, and save it. And so literally, you can generate the preoperative exam data in under a minute. It's quite quick and quite efficient. Now let's say you've reached a point where the patient is being seen for their postoperative exam. You can go here to New Event. You can click this, and we're going to create a brand new event. So here's the event type, and this is a patient's postoperative exam. We have our date from today that's automatically filled, although you can change it. We have to indicate which eye we're going to be discussing. Who is the surgeon? Who's the primary surgeon for this case? And which technician, if it is a technician, which technician is entering this data? Which clinic am I associated with? North Suburban Eye Specialist in my case. Comments. Was there anything unusual about this postoperative exam? Did the patient have, let's say, excessive dry eye? You can indicate that very quickly right here. Don't have to, but it's a place where you can place a note. Here we can enter the patient's manifest refraction. So maybe it's 0.25 for the sphere, no cylinder, and the axis, of course, is 0. Vertex distance, we're going to place at 12.5. And the uncorrected distance acuity here was 2020, and the corrected was maybe 2016. We can save this event here. And now look, in the patient's chart, they now have their postoperative exam saved. If we click this and we refresh, this patient's timeline, we can go back to these events. So here's the Phorcides contour planning. Here's our preoperative exam. So it's a way to navigate quickly, to look at different patients, to look at their course when each event took place. You can always navigate back to the home page at any point. So let's move back to our planning. We've got this patient. Let's say again that we decided we wanted to change this. We don't want to treat with contour. We want to treat with a wavefront optimized calculation. You can go here to the upper left-hand corner, hit Transfer to Wavefront Optimized. We want to load the surgical data from the contour module to the Wavefront Optimized module. Yes, in this case. So here, the Wavefront Optimized calculator has been brought up. So this is one way to load all this patient information, their name, date of birth, ID number, saving you time. All this has been entered in to the Wavefront Optimized calculator. You can always access the Wavefront Optimized calculator by choosing from the home page here the WFO calculator as a choice. But now that this data is in place, let's say we want to plan this patient's right eye as a Wavefront optimized treatment. What do? We're going to hit this pencil icon. This unlocks this data at the top. So we just unlock the data. We're going to choose the right eye. And now we've got our LASIK as our method. It's a primary intervention. It remembers that we're using the Wavelight EX500. It remembers what laser you use for your flap creation because this tends not to change. We tend to use the same method of creating our flaps, although you always can change it to a different method. But most surgeons and most centers will see that this stays in place, so Phorcides remembers this for you. Likewise, most surgeons will treat the same optical zone over and over again, so it remembers that for you. It has pulled in the patient's pupil size. It has pulled in the flat K and steep K from the pentacam or Galilei G4, the magnitude, and the axis. It's also found the central corneal pachymetry from those devices. Again, either the pentacam or Galilei G4. Most of the time, most surgeons stick with the same flap thickness, so Phorcides remembers this for you, although again, you can always change that. We're going to type in the patient's refraction, -5, 0.5 at an axis of 87, and we hit return. We have our nomogram. Here's our nomogram treatment to 2 decimal points, 4.98, 0.50 at axis of 87. This is the recommended treatment from Phorcides. If you want Phorcides to round for you to the nearest quarter diopter, the way that Wavefront optimized treatments are placed in the laser, you can hit the rounding button. If you like to round yourself based on the numbers, you can simply deselect that option. It gives you the estimated ablation for the treatment and the residual stromal bed that's predicted. We can save our results, and we hit save. And once again, let's just go check and see what happened on the cloud. So we hit the upper right-hand corner. It pulls up the cloud. And now we can see that we have Phorcides contour that was planned for the left eye. We also have Phorcides Wavefront optimized that was planned for the right eye. If we want to see this in the timeline format, what you can do is you can hit the Phorcides analytic engine here, and that takes us home. We can look at an events timeline. We're going to select our patient. And here's the patient's timeline. We have their preoperative exam for the left eye. We have the Phorcides contour planning for the left eye. We have the postoperative exam for the right eye. We have the preoperative exam for the right eye. We have the Wavefront optimized calculation for the right eye that we just did. And a surgery treatment, when it's performed, will be recorded there as well. So the timeline is a very useful way of navigating patient data in a clean, precise manner. Helps make you more efficient. So you can go in and you can see everything that we just planned, from which intervention it was, the flap creation, the thickness, the steep K, the flat K. All this was pulled in for you automatically. There was no typing. So Phorcides has been designed, the cloud-based EMR has been designed to make data collection for you and your technicians very efficient with the least amount of typing possible. And very shortly, all of the analytics will be ready as well. Once again, from any page, you can always navigate back to the home by clicking this Phorcides Analytic Engine icon. Immediately, it's brought us back to the home page. But here, under Reports, within a few weeks and during the next video, I'm going to show you all the different analytic reports that are available to analyze the data that you have stored now within the Phorcides Cloud. Thank you.